How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. It was good.
Yeah.
How about you?
Lots of food, lots of football. So it was really good. I don't know if you know, but I'm a Michigan football fan, college football fan.
I don't do the football. I do walks in the
Yeah.
woods at
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
oh, that's
Yeah.
smart. Yeah, that's better and easy for your blood sugar and blood pressure.
Right. Right.
But you know what I did do that it's gonna be, I guess it's a thing that Disney Plus gave us, is I watched the new episodes of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. As a segue. I like how they gave us two episodes. I'm not really sure yet. Um
I I think they messed up.
okay. Why?
Um so who was it? I think it was Apple. They did so with Ted Lasso this season.
Mm,
They did 3 episodes, I think all at once. Something like that. I don't know. And it was a good ending. So like the episodes they gave up front, it ended well.
yeah.
The 2 episodes that they gave us up front it wasn't a good package.
Mm.
I think they would have just been better off with the first episode and then once a week.
Yeah. Here's the biggest problem with what they did with the two episodes. And here's why I think they gave us two episodes. The first episode was terrible.
Like we didn't need both episodes to like introduce us.
No, but the first episode was bad. And so it's boring. It's legitimately super boring. Like we had the tackle in New York, that was fine. We've seen that a billion times already. We get the connection of why she wanted to be an archer because she saw Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
We get some of her. We get the montage, the animated montage shows her training, which I thought was really smart.
Yeah, that's
We
good.
we didn't have to see it. We just got to see the montage.
Right.
And then we get to see Hawkeye finally, but nothing happened. It was super slow. The fight scenes at the end with her and the in the auction basement or whatever you call it was fine. It was kind of a slow moving, and I don't really understand why it was like that. And I kind of feel like that's why they bundled both of them, because they knew they needed something else. And I think the second episode was just a little bit stronger. So you had these 2 episodes, these 2 hour episodes that help people get more into the series. But the series is only 6 episodes long, so we've already seen half of it.
Right. Yeah.
Weird. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's weird. Hopefully the last episode's going to be like 2 hours or something like that, or maybe an hour and a half. Something.
I think you've said that before with other Disney series, and it never turns out that way. So
yeah, I was wrong.
Maybe it'll be an exposition-filled last episode, like we had with Loki. Packed to the walls with exposition.
Let's go ahead and run down the episodes, and as I go through them, please interrupt me and ask me comic-based questions, because I have some pretty solid answers, because I've actually read probably 100 pages of the comic. So I'm pretty versed.
Is this a comic series that I should place on my stack of comics that I'll never read in the future?
How much do you like what you're watching right now?
I was super psyched for this series.
Yep.
Remember? Like I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do you love it?
I don't love it.
Okay. I think I recommend. I would buy the series.
Okay.
But because what this is, when I go through the episodes, I'll try to explain more of the comic connections, and be excited for the next 3 episodes.
Yeah.
If they do what I hope they will do.
Okay.
If they don't, it's going to suck. So let's start. The first episode was called Never Meet Your Heroes. So I already kind of went through the very beginning part. We had Kate Bishop. She survived the attack on New York. Her father was quote unquote killed. I don't think he's dead. Just FYI, if you don't see a body,
people are talking about that. Yeah, and there was suspiciously not a body.
He's not dead. And so
not even a scene of him imperiled.
No,
he was in the safest part of the building at the time, I guess.
Yeah. So her mother raised her, and shout out to Vera Farmiga. She is very recognizable, and every time I see her, I'm like, hey, I know this actress. But then I realized
I have no idea who this actress is.
She does a lot of different like B-list kind of stuff, but she did She did a horror series for a long time that I never watched, but I forget what's called. Everybody watched it. It's pretty popular. But anyway, Vera
Would you
Farmiga
say
is
she does like B-list, like B
not B list.
movies, or are
No,
you
no, she
saying
does.
she's
She
like
does.
she's a character actor?
No, what's that mean?
They're not they're not a major star, but they really get into their characters that they're
Yeah,
playing and
that's her.
help
That's
develop
her.
it. Okay.
Yeah, that's her. But you recognize her a lot. But anyway, I recognize her a lot. Anyway, Vera Farmiga, shout out to her. And then she learns how to she learns how to become an archer because she saw Hawkeye do it, and she kind of feels like she wants to be a superhero. That's her goal. She never says it, but I mean, if in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when you're seeing superheroes do stuff, it's not unusual to think someone saying, "I want to be a superhero," and that's what kind of she does.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see her grow up.
1,000%. That's what she does. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We see her grow up, and we see she does some vandalism. We see some of her archery skills. I guess she did a bet that she could make the bell tower ring. But isn't there
Yeah. Her
more interesting
university.
things that she could have done that show off her archery skills, but also show that she's it's a weird thing to do, right? Am I just I? But I didn't think that scene was very interesting.
Um, I mean, it seems like something you would do in college, right?
There's lots of things you could do in college. I bet I can shoot the apple off the desk of this professor. So his window's open, and I just made that up. So she
That
shoots
sounds very dangerous.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I don't care about the bell tower.
That sounds a little dangerous, shooting an arrow on campus.
Yeah,
during the day.
Okay, it is. It is. But here's my point, Mike. Yeah. There's no danger really in this entire episode. The show has to really push to put her in a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when they finally do, it's interesting. But okay, let's move on. We see her parents. She's super rich.
I think she did nothing wrong, by the way, with the bell tower. That thing was apparently in horrible condition. Some administrator at the college is responsible for that. It's their fault. They weren't maintaining the bell tower. She did nothing wrong.
Okay, that's
Kate did nothing wrong.
That's a debate I don't want to get into right now.
Okay.
Here's a debate.
Arrows don't weigh that much, Ringing a bell should not make the tower collapse.
Okay, that's fair.
She did nothing wrong.
Debate. Here's a debate, Mike.
Yeah.
You are away at college. You come home. Your mother says, "Hey, I got something special to tell you." If your mother gets engaged, shouldn't she tell you over the phone earlier or talk? Or even better, if you and your mother are the only family you have, shouldn't your mother call you and ask if you should get married or talk to you about it?
Yeah, it seems like they should have a conversation, definitely.
That was
especially before other people like neighbors know about it.
Yeah, that's strike number 2 for me. That doesn't feel right. If I was in my creative writing class and someone brought this story to me, I'd be like, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't. It feels like you're making drama for no reason, and it just feels like you want some kind of dramatic thing to happen. And
well, is her mother a good person?
I think so. I don't know. That's a good question. She might not be a good person, but even a bad person makes better decisions than that. Right? I mean,
maybe she's a sociopath, or is that the right term?
Yeah, maybe she's a sociopath. I don't know. That's a good question, but it just feels this. Okay, did you know that? Did you watch the Lord of the Rings movies?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know the last
many times over?
Yeah, you know the last scene where Frodo gets on the boat to go to the Elf Island, and Gandalf is there, and everybody says goodbye. And it's really sad.
I'll pretend that I recall.
In the last movie, Frodo goes on the boat with Bilbo and Gandalf.
Okay.
Yeah.
The very end. Right.
You know that was the first scene they filmed in the entire movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Very first scene, the very first thing they filmed.
Mm-hmm.
The episode 1 of this series feels like the very first thing that they filmed, but it's bad. There's no chemistry. Nothing's cooking.
You know what? That's something I was going to bring up, and it seems like it extends through all of the episodes. I feel like I'm going to come across as overcritical of this because
Mhm.
I like it, but it's not what I was hoping it was going to be. But yeah, like the
Something
chemistry just doesn't seem like it's popping between these two.
something's
And like
wrong with this.
other people are saying that like it's great. So
Something's
I don't know
wrong.
what's off. Something's off for me.
Something's off. You are absolutely correct. It tastes funny. Like
And
you
like
put
the witty comments that they make that are supposed to be funny, they're not landing for me.
it's
They're witty banter, you know?
we're okay. Let's compare this to One Division, Loki, and Captain America. One Division, Loki, and Falcon Winter Soldier. Let's compare those three.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, of those three, Falcon and Winter Soldier was probably the weakest. We could have a long debate about which one was better, One Division or Loki. I'm going to go with One Division. You might say Loki. But you can definitely see and feel the difference between those two shows, right? You can feel
Mhm.
it. Like
Yeah.
better writing, better acting, something's cooking right, better chemistry between the characters. Like Loki was so much stronger. There's something wrong with Hawkeye that's just not clicking, and I don't know what it is. It's really confusing to me. I wanted to blame Haley Steinfeld, but I don't blame her. I think she's doing the best she can with the material she has.
She's really
It's
good. She was
yeah,
great in the Bumblebee movie. And
yeah,
if you can do a good job in a Transformers movie,
yeah.
you know, acting's not your problem.
I think that side note, I think that Haley Steinfeld likes the way she looks a lot, which causes some problems on the camera. But other than that, um,
Okay.
it does make sense. Like some
I
actresses just like some actors and actresses think
I mean, is
no,
she
they
like looking in mirrors in the episodes?
no,
What are
no.
you
They're
talking
just
about?
like they don't allow themselves to look funny on camera. Like, does that make sense? Like
Mm,
Jeremy Renner makes a lot of cool facial expressions and really pushes his expressions, but Haley Steinfeld won't do that. She has like 4 different expressions you'll get, and that's it.
okay, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. I haven't
I could
noticed
be
it.
wrong. I'm still getting to know this actress. Like I'm still trying to figure out who she is.
You really
I'm
got to
not.
watch that Bumblebee movie.
I'm not going to do that.
It's
Just to let you
good.
know.
It's
Mm,
actually good.
I'm not going to do it. Like for example, Linda Cardellini,
I
Hawkeye's wife.
recognize that name.
Yeah,
Where do I recognize it from? What else has
she's
she
been
been
in
in?
everything, dude. She's been
Okay.
in tons of stuff.
All right.
She's been in got Kids in the Hall. No, not Kids in the Hall. She was in a TV show and she was younger and yeah, she's been in lots of stuff. She's great. But anyway,
Okay.
so I'm still getting used to Haley Stanfield. But I think that Jeremy Renner and Haley have some chemistry. I just think that writing is just not strong. It's just not. It's not as strong as it could be. There's something
Mhm.
going on with it. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
You know what
anyway,
this reminds me of so far? This
what?
show?
What?
It doesn't remind me of any of the Marvel um, series on Disney Plus.
No.
It doesn't remind me of the Marvel series on Netflix either, really.
Okay.
What it reminds me of are some of the DC series on the CW.
It's not that bad.
Just has a feeling that is reminiscent of some of those shows.
Those CW shows have a very specific formula, and this isn't it. But I can. It's close to it. It's close to it.
Yeah. I mean, it feels
That's
like it so far. The other Disney Plus shows, we're excluding What If. The other Disney Plus shows didn't feel like TV shows.
yeah.
This
Yes.
feels like a TV show.
No, you're absolutely right on that. Like each Hawkeye episode feels like you're watching a TV show versus Loki, which feels like you're watching a part of a movie and you can't wait to get back into it.
Right.
Um, and that's just kind of how it is. I mean, I'm hoping the next 3 episodes can ramp that up. I think episode 3 did a little better job. Let's get into it. So now, episode 1, we get introduced back to Clint Barton, and we find out that he's deaf, like he's hard of hearing. I'm sorry. So he has to use a hearing aid, which was a surprise to me. I like the remember the explanation when she was like, "So how did you lose your hearing?" And it just showed a montage of him going through
Right. Yeah,
different loud things, and
that
he's
was
like,
one
"Who
of
knows?"
that was one of the good
Yeah.
parts of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "Who knows?" Like he wasn't even concerned with it. He was like, "I just lost my hearing," you know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, but we see his children. He's trying to have a good Christmas. It was really interesting how everybody knows who he is. He has to deal with that level of fame, which I thought was really interesting. We get that
Yeah,
terrible.
well, like Falcon walking down the street and Falcon and Winter Soldier kids knew who he was too. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but we get that terrible Rogers musical that I could barely get through that.
I
I
honestly wanted more of that.
Oh my god, that musical's painful, painful. There's only one musical that I can watch, and it's West Side Story because it's absolutely brilliant. And definitely go see it when it comes to theaters. Real excited about that. But this
Mhm.
musical is everything I couldn't stand about musicals. Um, it was fine. It was supposed to be disgusting, but it is. And so I like the fact that he's like dealing with what happened after Endgame, and he feels bruised up from it. Don't you think? Like it feels like he's finally away from everything that happened from Avengers 1 to Endgame, and he feels like he's just kind of tired, you know?
Right. Yeah.
He just feels like I'm just so over this, like I'm just done, you
Yeah.
know?
Just wants to get back to his family life, really.
Yeah, but then he can't because Kate Bishop apparently someone found his Ronin costume and his Ronin sword and auctioned it off, and Kate Bishop put it on. Here's my question: why are we saving these people's lives? They're all rich, snobby aristocrats. Who cares?
Oh, saving the people that are in
Yeah,
the black auction.
who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares?
yeah, I'm with you on that. I
She's
just would
risking
have,
her life for these people's, and it
I
doesn't
I
matter.
just would have gotten out of there. Like, who can tell who's the bad guy in this scene?
Here's the deal: I
Is it
think
the
this.
people running the black auction in a clandestine room in the basement, or is it the people attacking them? I have no idea. I'm
And
just
I
gonna
don't
get
care.
out of here.
Yeah, and I don't really care. But it's
Right.
like it's funny though because like the show. Here's the deal: the show wants to be about this young person. I'm not going to say woman because it doesn't matter what gender is. This young person that
Hmm.
wants to become a superhero and wants Hawkeye to train her, right?
Yeah.
And we don't get enough of her putting herself at risk and at harm's way because she wants to, right? The
Hmm.
show really doesn't want to say to us she's crazy. You know, like you just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fight a bunch of armed gunmen. I don't care how much karate I've learned, but she really wants to do this. You know, she really wants to be a superhero. But
Right.
like maybe the show doesn't want her to, because like, if that's the arc, right? If you have an arc where somebody wants to be a superhero and then puts him in harm's way to become a superhero, the climax or a low point or a place of turn will have to be her getting her butt kicked hard, like real hard, to make her second guess herself, to make her doubt herself, right? We don't see that right now. And so I don't know if the show's going to put her in that situation, but it's going to have to, I think. At some point, either probably episode 4, it's going to be an episode where she almost dies and she has to question what she's doing. And then, of course, she decides to be a superhero and comes back and wins it or something like that. But
You know what? I
like,
almost feel like it would have been better if she was by herself the entire first episode
mm,
and some of the second one to get into trouble really before Hawkeye comes in to
mhm.
help out. But when you title the show Hawkeye, you kind of have to have him in the first episode.
Yeah, that's true. But in the comics, newsflash, they're both named Hawkeye.
Yeah, but she won't be named Hawkeye until the last episode.
But they might share it title. They might share the title.
Think?
Yeah, they share the title in the comics. And it's a joke. Like when someone says
Oh, really?
Hawkeye, they both say yes. Yeah, it's funny. Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Do you have any comic related questions? Because I do have some. There are some comic related stuff happening right now.
I hear some of these characters are lifted straight from the comics.
That's correct.
Should we do like a rundown on some on the characters?
Kate Bishop's directly from the comics. The mother is mentioned in the comics, but she's not a big deal.
Does Kate Bishop have any history prior to basically becoming Hawkeye?
Yes, she's actually part of a team called the Young Avengers. So how it works is the Young Avengers were formed. Kate Bishop joins, but she actually takes up 2 or 3 different superhero roles, and then she ends up
Like, does
taking
she have any powers, or is she kind of
no
like
powers.
okay?
She's
So
just she's exactly what you
she's the
see. She's
Hawkeye
rich,
of the Young Avengers before she's Hawkeye.
basically. But
Yeah.
then at a certain point, Hawkeye that dressed up as Ronin and took over the Ronin mantle for a while.
Right.
And he kind of challenged her and said, "If you want my mantle, you're going to fight for it." And he ended up giving her the mantle after she proved she could do it.
Okay.
But then, about maybe 2 or 3 years later, they just became friends. and she started hanging out with him like in his apartment, and they kind of just went through adventures together, kind of like deal. It's the the Hawkeye show is trying to mesh the Hawkeye series that's very popular, but it's not doing it very well. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit, hopefully.
Are they closer in age in the comics?
No, she's still younger than he is.
Weird.
But
That they would share
there
an
was
apartment for a while.
yeah, but no, they didn't share the apartment. They was just kind of hanging out. But there
Okay.
was some sexual tension in the comics. The comics kind of
Okay.
wanted you to think that they could end up together.
Mhm.
Maybe the show is that's not going to happen in the show, so don't
Right.
even worry about that. That might be some of the juice that's missing, because they care about each other a lot in the comics, like more than you normally would for someone. And here it's just not, that glue's not there right now.
I actually
So-
really liked that when he asks her to take off the vest. The way they set up that set or location was that she could go upstairs, so there's like absolutely no kind of sexual tension at all.
Yeah,
In the
and, like,
room with her changing clothes while he's there.
and he's the actor. Give shout out to Jimmy Renner. He's acting in a very like not interested in that way,
Right.
and I was kind of concerned that kind of would come out somehow, but it's
Mhm.
definitely not.
Yeah, yeah.
Like his wife's calling a lot.
Right.
Like she like Kate Bishop in the show is not very like she might be physically attractive, but when she starts talking or acting, she's not. You know, it's like, well, I'm like, why are you like, you're just a weird person, you know? So
Yeah.
I think so. So shout out to the show doing that, but it's losing a lot of cool stuff that the comics played with. So that's just how it is.
All right.
The Tracksuit Mafia is from the comics, bro. so so that's a big deal. Not a really big deal, but they're not a big like, it's just they're just trying people to beat up. It's not really a big deal.
I like that. I like that though.
Yeah, in the comics originally
That's something I don't think the MCU does enough of just
No.
having generic beat me up bad guys.
Yeah. In the comics, these guys wanted to buy a bunch of property in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, I'm sorry, and kick people out. So that's why Hawkeye showed up. He shows up with a bag of money and says, "Hey, I want to buy this apartment so these people can live there." And then like he has to fight these guys, and a dog ends up saving Hawkeye's life, and that's the dog from the show. And the dog, yeah. So that's how the dog is. So the dog is different from the comics.
What's
as well.
the dog's name in the comic?
Lucky, but he doesn't have a name for a while. No,
Okay.
yeah, his name's Lucky, but it takes a while to get the name.
Okay. Okay. Right now he's Pizza Dog in the
Yeah,
TV
so
show.
he calls it like, so in the comics there's a pizza shop, right? Like the whole pizza shop thing is accurate. So they're trying to take the cool things from the comics, like the art and the setup and stuff like that. But the comics,
I think it's a shame that her apartment got torched by the Tracksuit Mafia.
they can build it back together.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Set. I mean, it seems cool.
Yeah, but
it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Shout out to TMNT again.
Yep.
But the problem is the comic is more interesting than the show, which is a new thing. Like the comic is way better than the show, and like we haven't seen that in a while. Like Marvel's done a pretty good job taking all these comic elements and then making them into something different, so you can't really compare it to a comic. Except now, which is like they're trying to make it feel like the comic, like a better translation of the comic, but it's not working. And so that might be what's off. Like, so I won't get ahead of myself. I'll stay trick. Okay.
What about her parents? Are her parents in the
Good
comics?
question.
Yeah.
Her mother is, but the guy Jacques Duquesne, I don't know how to pronounce it. Duquesne, is that how you pronounce it?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe. He is called Jacques Duquesne in the comics, and Jacques. Yes, guess who he is?
I don't know.
The Swordsman.
Never heard of the Swordsman.
I have. He's from the comics, and he used to be an Avenger.
Well, there's lots of swords in their
There is. He did steal the Ronin sword, so that was a big deal. Not many people would have known that he was the swordsman unless you did some digging. But yeah, he's the swordsman.
He
and
wanted
he
to
is,
buy, in fairness, he wanted to buy the sword.
Yeah, but then he just stole it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, someone else is going to steal it if he didn't.
Here's the interesting thing, Mike.
That's sort of stupid in the TV show.
Yeah,
There's
it looks
no
dumb.
way the blade is going to retract into the
Oh,
handle
come on.
like
It's
that.
cool looking. Come on. It's cool.
Does
okay?
it do that? Does it do that in the comics? Because that's dumb.
I don't know. I don't think so. We have
Like, I don't even know why they bothered doing that. It's dumb. It's stupid, unless it's like Tony Stark, nanobots or whatever.
They're doing a lot of dumb stuff in this show, but it's holding on.
And so far, there's no reason for it to retract like that, really.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to get hung up on. To be honest with you.
I don't know, it just seemed weird.
Okay. What else is in the comics? That's kind of it. The Ronin suit I thought was interesting. I liked how it was causing some problems, and I think that's going to come up more, especially when we talk about episode 3. We're going to talk more about that in a second. So episode 2 is called Hide and Seek. What happens in episode 2? Nothing really, right?
They hide and
yeah,
they hide. Out.
Yeah, they get the Tracksuit Mafia shows up. They're funny. I like them. They're actually really funny to have around.
Yeah.
They fight them off. They hide in her aunt's apartment. Okay, Mike. We have to talk about the LARPing scene.
I did not like the LARPing scene. Did you like the LARPing scene?
It was a good way for us to hang out with Clint Barton a little bit longer and to get to know him a little bit better. Cause like Jeremy Renner really has that character nailed down. He's got him perfect, and I like that. And Clint just is not like he feels a little tired. It feels like he's still mourning Black Widow's loss. There's a lot of things going on with him, and I think the LARPing scene was like the thing that I thought was interesting was at the very end when that guy, the fireman, gave him back the suit, and he was like, "You had a little fun today, right?" And Clint's like, "What did he say after that? Did he say a little? What did he say?"
I don't even remember. Yeah, but the end when he fought that dude was the only part of that whole LARPing scene that I kind of enjoyed. Because the guy that he was playing, the firefighter, just had a really good energy about him or whatever.
Yeah, it's just, again, we had a scene that could be funny. It's a little long. It could have kind of worked, but something happened that didn't make it work very well. I think the stakes.
Do you go LARPing, Jay? Do you LARP? Have you ever LARPed?
I'm curious because you're asking me, so that means that you have.
I have never LARPed.
Okay, why would you think I LARPed?
I don't know.
I've actually thought about LARPing. I've actually thought about LARPing. Yes, okay. I've seriously considered LARPing.
You should do it,
but I'm just not doing that.
Doesn't this episode get you all excited?
No. I'm not going to go and fake fight people with a sword in the middle of a field somewhere. This doesn't interest me at all. It kind of interests me a little bit, but I can just go and play a video game.
Well, since you've looked into it,
I haven't looked into it that much.
Well, more than me, which is none.
I think I went to a website like once.
Okay, you're experienced then, so I'm going to ask you, as an experienced LARPer.
I'm not experienced.
Do they have just like spare LARPing clothes at the sign-up place? I'm guessing they don't.
I'm guessing positive they do.
Really? I was thinking it's like LARPing is like a bring your own affair.
No, I think LARPing's a money-making business. I guarantee if you type in LARPing right now, you're going to see like seriously well-made websites.
Why are we bothering with this podcast then, man? Let's get into the LARPing game.
I'm not. That sounds like a physical activity that would make me tired. You know?
No. We're the ones we're selling to the LARPers.
I'm not spending my Saturdays setting up LARPing campaigns. I'm not doing that.
All right, you've talked me out of it.
Imagine your Sunday. What are you doing today? I gotta go and set up a field for LARPing. That's my entire Sunday. No way. Yeah. Absolutely not.
No, I'd rather do the podcast. You're right.
I respect LARPers. I respect what you do. I'm intrigued by it. And I'm actually jealous that you can do it. Because I don't have the emotional integrity to do it myself. So shout out to LARPers. You guys are doing some seriously good work. And hey, congratulations. Hawkeye probably got thousands of people to go LARPing this weekend. I promise you that happened.
You think maybe so is LARPing in the comics?
I have never read a comic where anyone went LARPing.
Do you think that Jeremy Renner is actually a LARPer and that's why they put this into the TV series?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I
think
think
he might be. He might be.
I think somebody went LARPing.
Yeah.
That's kind of episode 2. Okay, the thing about episode 2 that ended is he allowed himself to get captured so he can find the boss.
Yeah.
Kate smashes through a
James
window by
Bond
accident.
move right there.
Yeah, Kate smashes through a window by accident because she's an idiot. They're both captured, and then we get Echo. So, Mike,
Who is Echo?
Ask me if she's in the comics, Mike. Ask me.
Is Echo in the comics?
Yes, she is. She's in the comics. She
Tell us more about her.
She came from a Daredevil comic. I forget the number. John Quesado.
You know what? Her introduction is lit. Kind of like some Daredevil scenes from the Netflix series.
You're starting to get it. This is the exciting stuff. Okay, so she's from the comics.
Jay, my son and I, my son, he's been talking about like all these fight scenes and like the Marvel movies that we're watching and the Disney Plus series and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I've got to show you this one fight scene out of Daredevil. You've been too young before.
Which one?
You know which one. I don't even need to tell you.
First season or second season?
First season.
Oh, yeah. So good. The hallway fight.
Hallway fight. Exactly. I was like, you've been too young up until now, but I think you're at an age now where I can show you this. This is one of the coolest fight scenes in all of television. So we've actually been watching a lot of the episodes of the first season of Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
That series holds up.
Yeah,
it is
it's good.
So good.
The whole thing's good. All three seasons are fantastic. Mike, are you ready to get excited?
I am. Okay. Now that you got me talking about Daredevil.
Okay, Daredevil comic. It was written by. It was a big deal because it was Kevin Smith wrote the episode. I think. No. I'm sorry.
The series.
No,
like the comics.
So I'm getting too excited. I gotta slow down.
All right.
Marvel published a Kevin Smith written Daredevil with art by Joe Quesado. Joe Quesado is probably one of the best comic artists for a while. I think he runs the Marvel publishing now. It was a big hit. Everybody loved it. Then there was another. Then there was another series written by a guy named David Mack. Okay. He does this really beautiful painted art. It was a big hit back in the day. Probably like, oh God, probably 20 some years ago.
Did he maybe go to Image and then come back to Marvel?
He definitely did an Image comic. Yes.
Okay.
So Joe Quesado did some art, and then David Mack did some of the art, and he created the character Echo. Echo is a character, Native American character, who is deaf in the comics, but she can memorize and see people's movements. So whenever she sees someone fight, she can copy their movements.
Like Taskmaster.
Very much like Taskmaster. So in one of the series, he watched Bruce Lee's fights and then learned how to fight like Bruce Lee. It was
That's
really cool.
amazing.
All right, I'm about to blow your mind.
All right.
Okay. Do you remember the scene where she is a young girl and a guy in a suit touched her face? Like her father says, "I'll be back in a little while." And
that guy was called Uncle in that scene.
Okay, there is a theory. That he is the Kingpin from Daredevil. You don't seem excited at all about this.
Any other way to get Daredevil in here other than having Kingpin show up?
No.
I mean, there's got to be.
You don't like Kingpin?
You know what? All right. So I've told you before that I'm not a fan of Forrest Whitaker.
Okay.
And you're like, what? Nobody's not a fan of Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not a fan of Forrest Whitaker because he's always overacting. That's all he ever does.
All right.
Well, I am the exact same way with Vincent D'Onofrio.
Okay, Mike, you could be that way if you want.
I don't like Vincent D'Onofrio. He's all he does is overact. I can't stand him.
That's fine.
He is the low point of Daredevil for me. I just kind of, I accept that he's in Daredevil, and it's still a great series, even with him there. But I wish they had picked another actor.
Okay, first, I can't agree with you at all about that. That's my first thing.
I
It's
mean,
like
you were incredulous about the Forrest Whitaker thing too.
that's
But,
true. So I'll just skip that potential fight. Okay. Second, get hyped that if they do bring Kingpin into it, we already know that Daredevil confirmed from the leaks. We know that Daredevil's going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. We know that. This is Marvel bringing that stuff here into the MCU proper.
That guy that played Daredevil is so good.
Yes. So get hyped about that, Mike. Get hyped that you are seeing Marvel taking baby steps to bring Daredevil into the fold. Once like we
and
know
it's only a matter of time until they bring Iron Fist into the fold.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, we have to No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Marvel knows that there's a big want for these characters, and so they're going to bring them back eventually. But
I don't think a whole bunch of people are looking forward to Iron Fist being brought in. But
I would like Iron Fist if they did it correctly. But when I say correctly, it needs to be true to the comics, and we can talk about the.
That was definitely the least liked of the Netflix Marvel.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different reasons why, and I don't want to get too deep into it.
Right.
But my point is this. Here's my point. Okay, we know like Hawkeye said there's a big boss above the mafia guys, the Tracksuit Mafia.
Tracksuit Mafia.
Yeah, and Kate said, "Who is it?" And he's like,
above
"You don't
Echo.
want."
Above Echo.
Yeah, above Echo. And he's like, "You don't want to know." I guarantee you, either episodes 4 or 5, you are going to see Kingpin. You are going to see him. It's going to be that. What's his name?
What's his name? D'Onofrio?
Yeah, it's going to be him, and we're going to all freak out because as soon as we see him on screen on Hawkeye, then the Daredevil universe is confirmed. It's all confirmed that it all exists, and like it opens up a huge can of worms that's going to be amazing for us all to enjoy. Can of worms is usually bad, but
D'Onofrio recently, like within the past few days, posted some photo of himself to social media somewhere. Didn't really say anything in it, just posted a picture of himself. People noted that his hair is extremely short, as if it was clean shaven recently.
Dude, it is him. He is in it, okay? And Marvel's been real cute.
I saw somebody that was like zoomed in on the lapel pin of Uncle in that scene where he touches Echo.
Yeah.
And they think it's the same lapel pins that he wore in the Daredevil series on Netflix.
If it's not, it's going to be a huge disappointment. Huge
All right,
disappointment.
Okay, so other than Echo, tell us about the ties between Kingpin and Hawkeye, the comic series.
In the comic series, there is a heist where a bunch of circus people. It's weird because Hawkeye came out of the circus. He actually was kind of born as an orphan, but he grew up in the circus. So he knew that these circus people were going to do some kind of heist. Hawkeye breaks up the heist, but then ding ding ding, Kingpin thinks that he's responsible for the heist and puts a hit out on him. So
Hawkeye or Ronin?
Hawkeye. Okay. So there is Kingpin ties in the comics. Lots of ties in the comics, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And you bring in Echo, which has ties because in the
you're saying Echo's even more closely associated with Daredevil than with Hawkeye.
Oh, 100%. Kingpin hired Echo to kill the Daredevil in the comics.
Oh.
Yeah, as he ends up shooting Kingpin and blinding him.
Wow, that's weird. A deaf character going against a blind character in the comics.
It was a little too cute. It's a little too cute, but it worked out.
I like it.
Okay, it's fine. It is. The only thing is in the show she has a prosthetic leg. She doesn't have that in the comic.
Yeah, I wonder, like, are they going to go into how she's deaf and has the prosthetic leg?
I don't think they're going to explain it. I think that we haven't really seen someone with a prosthetic limb at all in I can't remember it.
Winter Soldier.
Who?
The Winter Soldier.
Okay, I haven't seen anybody with a normal prosthetic limb at all,
right?
In the series, and so maybe it's just Marvel trying to kind of reestablish some stuff, connect some stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
I think it's pretty cool. You don't know that she has a prosthetic until you see it on her in a flashback where she's a little girl.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop her fighting or anything at all. And I think it's good. And also her being deaf isn't a big deal. We've already seen some sign language, ASL use in the Eternals, and now we get to
Mm-hmm.
see it now.
Right.
I think it works well. I think it's smart, and I think it's seamless as well. I think it's working well. I mean, there's going to be some nerds somewhere being like, "Oh, Marvel's trying to be woke and put deaf people." Echoes a
Hey,
20.
hey. Do not use nerd to refer to those people.
Okay, I will.
That is
We-
disrespectful to the
What
word
did we
nerd.
what did we call them last time? We called them what?
I don't
I
know if it's the
forget.
same group of people. I think you're talking about incels.
These
These
people are
people
worse than
seem like
that.
there's something else. Something else. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the mom's basement, like in their 30, and like refuse to move out. Anyway, the point is, like a lot of people think that Marvel's just trying to do this to appease certain groups. Like
Yeah.
Echo's been around for 20 some years. Like she's been
Mhm.
around forever. Like Daredevil's been around since the 60s. Like, come on, stop. It's like it's getting kind of silly. Like, and
Right.
to be honest with you, Hawkeye being hard of hearing makes complete sense. All the stuff he's been through, he's going to be hard of hearing. So
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. And by
yeah,
the way, so he does have hearing aids in the comic series, right?
no.
No,
I don't see them in the comic.
I heard people before.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I heard that he did in the comic.
I'll read the comics and see. But the comics I'm reading, he doesn't have them in there. I'll have to check, but I haven't seen
Okay.
them. So it's super. So okay, in this episode 3, remember the car chase where like they get into the car and they
Yeah, I
drive.
was so looking forward to that.
Yeah, that scene is from the comics, directly from the comics. There is a car
Okay.
chase scene between the Tracksuit Mafia and Hawkeye. But here's the interesting part, Mike. In the comics, he gets into that Challenger, but in the TV show, they don't get into the Challenger. I'm not sure.
That's another thing I did not like.
I don't know why they didn't get into it. I don't like in the comics. They have the whole chase. He's driving
Yeah,
in the
see
Challenger.
that seems like it's just a twist that they're doing because they think it's funny, and I think that's another thing that doesn't land.
100%, man. 100%. Like if you read the comics, you might think it's funny or cute, but if you watch the TV show, you're like, I don't get it. Right? Like
It's like
I think.
you're running, you're in the hideout of the Tracksuit Mafia. You
Mhm.
run out to the parking lot. There's a few cars out there that you get to choose from to make your getaway. You're stealing a car. There's a Challenger, and there's some old sedan, garbage sedan.
Mhm.
And you don't want to break into the Challenger because you respect that car.
I don't get it.
If you
Honestly,
don't break into that car and take it, it's going to be chasing you.
yeah. It was a weird decision. But other than that, the scene where where Kate is shooting arrows, the trick arrows that she
You
doesn't
know
understand.
why? I now know why they didn't pick that car.
Why?
Because they wanted to do that shot, and you can't do that shot with the Challenger because the visibility outside of it is not good enough. There's not enough windows.
Maybe.
They needed a car with more windows.
I honestly don't know. I kind of think it's a mistake.
That's 1,000% it. Confirmed. I just
But anyway,
figured it out.
she's shooting arrows that she doesn't understand. That's straight from the comics. All the different tricks she was doing is from the comics. The end, how it ended on the bridge, from the comics. Except there was no pin particle arrow that they shot to make the arrow bigger. That wasn't
Okay.
in
I
the
was going to
comics.
ask you about that.
No, that wasn't.
Can you tell us about any of the other arrows that we saw in this episode?
Yeah, they're all from all of them were straight from the comics. There was like the one where he shot one and it has it shot strings everywhere and
grabbed
acid
a bunch of Christmas
arrows.
trees. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all from the comics. Like that scene was. If you read the comics and you saw that scene, you're pretty happy.
What was that one like that just suction cup to a windshield?
I think so. If you look, the suction cup has a little receiver inside of it. It's a spy kind of thing. So you shoot it into a window so you can hear what's going on.
Okay.
Makes
That
sense.
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
They didn't explain it, but that's what it was. Anyway, I hope so.
I like not explaining things in TV shows and movies.
I agree.
Not everything needs to be explained.
But yeah, so no, I think you're right, Mike. Like the show is trying to give shout outs to the comic series,
Mm-hmm.
but also do things for the show. Like I've watched some preview stuff, and you see that when he was in a suit, he's like in a tuxedo.
Hawkeye?
Yeah, there's a scene where he's in a tuxedo being chased in a hotel. That was in the comics, so we'll see how that looks.
Is that one of the
Um,
episodes we watched, or are you saying that's
no,
from the
no, it's coming
trailer?
up. It's coming
Okay,
up.
okay, okay.
It's coming up. But I'm just I'm hoping that the last 3 episodes will give us some more stakes because right now we don't have some high stakes. We don't. There's not. I mean, okay, we know that someone's been murdered. Like her future stepfather might be is the swordsman, but he might be a villain. I don't think he is a villain. We know Kingpin might show up. We know Echo's there. But the show it needs to have a stronger sense of a conflict. Loki had that. One Division had that. Even Falcon Winter Soldier had that, but this doesn't have it, and I think that's the biggest problem it's facing right now.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I'm still gonna watch it. I mean, I'm gonna watch
Oh
next
yeah,
week.
yeah. I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna watch it. I really do hope that it gets better. I really
it
do.
will. It will. I
And
mean,
and
what
again, I'm being critical, but I liked it.
what would you grade it? So, like, I would grade One Division Loki's A. I would grade Falcon Winter Soldier as a B, maybe a B minus. What would you grade this?
Really?
Mhm.
Hmm. I don't know. That's tough.
Let's wait till finish. We'll wait till we finish it, and then we'll make a
Yeah.
decision. We'll
Yeah.
have to see. But that's it right now. We got 3 more episodes to go. We're going to do a podcast for each next 3 episodes, and I'm pretty excited. I like Jeremy Renner. I'm getting more into Hailey Stanfield. I'm hoping that we see some other cool stuff. It is confirmed, by the way, that the girl from Black Widow, her name
Florence
is
Pugh,
she is yeah, so she is going to be in this at some point, which
Yelena
is
Belova.
she is going to be in
I'm
this.
looking at IMDb right now, and it says she's in 3 episodes, so she's in the back half of the series.
That's going to be interesting.
And you know what? We love Florence Pugh in Black Widow.
We did.
She
I'm
was
super.
awesome.
I would just think it'd be fun to see her and Kate Bishop and Hawkeye just for like 10 minutes, just kind of be annoying to each other.
Yeah, yeah. She was
That's
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But yeah, and hey, and by the way, the actress who plays Echo, Alakwa Kois, I think she's actually deaf.
Oh,
That's
cool.
actually pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very cool.
Is she
Yeah.
also Native American?
Yes, I think yeah, sure is. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how this plans out. I'm pretty excited. And hey, just as a segue to move on to our next part, we have a lot of stuff coming on from Marvel. We've got Spider-Man: No Way Home is getting crazy, like hyped up right now.
Do you have your tickets already?
No, not yet. I'm going to be in
I
Michigan
don't
when it
either.
comes out, so I'm going to have to. I'm not worried about that. It's COVID. Nobody's going to the theaters.
Right.
But it's getting super hyped. It's already a lot of stuff.
We go to the theaters for you, dear listeners.
Yes, we literally risk our lives.
That's right.
So you get the entertainment that you need.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike, guess what time it is?
Hang on a second. It's not time for that yet.
It's not time.
I got a few things.
All right. Okay, go for it.
I'm just gonna do a little bit of nerding here. You know, I like camera work in movies and TV shows. We were talking about that chase scene in the car.
Yep.
Where do you? So what do they call that? Is that a single take or a one shot? What do they call those?
One shot. One shot.
Okay. So it's a really long shot, and there's no cuts in it that we can see.
There's a few cuts, but it's not noticeable.
That we can see.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no cuts, so it appears as though the camera's running the whole time, and we see it. Do you know where the cuts were? I think I know where the cuts were.
No, I don't.
So, all right. So the cars have A, B, and C pillars. A is the front, B is the pillar that's in the middle, in between the windows, and the C pillar is the pillar at the back of the car.
Okay.
Where the windows
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Okay. The C pillars are kind of thick on that car, but nowhere near as thick as they were on the Challenger. So when the camera pans across those thick C pillars, I think that's where they're doing a cut, and that's called a swish cut, I think. So the camera's like passing across those thick C pillars, and they do a cut there.
Well, how come
and that way they're able to set up all those kind of crazy like car maneuvers with multiple takes and something that looks like it's a continuous take.
Mike, why have you never talked about camera angles and stuff before?
I don't know.
I didn't even know you knew this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm into all that.
We've done like 47 episodes.
I had to talk about something at some
No,
point.
you've never mentioned this.
You commented in one podcast that I was surprisingly visual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, hey, you can continue to do this, please.
Yeah. Okay.
That could be great. I have nothing else to respond to. Do you have any other comment questions? I think we covered it pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so on IMDb, there's a guy named Kazi.
Yeah.
He's I guess he's the second in command of the Tracksuit Mafia.
You saw him. He was interpreting sign language from
right. Yeah, he's the one that is close to Echo.
Yeah.
And he actually wears like a trench coat over his tracksuit.
Yeah.
So he looks very different. For some reason, and I don't even know how they found out what his name was, but Kate Bishop and Clint are looking up his name in her mom's computer at the end of the third episode.
Mm-hmm.
How'd they find out what his name was? And can you tell us anything about him from the comics?
I don't know how they know his name. Maybe he heard it somehow. I'm not sure. But he is in the comics. He's actually in the comic collection that I have right now. I just haven't read that far yet. But he's
okay.
But
so you'll be able to tell us about him later.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to try to read some today. Actually, tonight. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, he's in the comic. 100%.
Cool. Felt like there was one more thing, but maybe that's it.
I think we did a pretty good job doing our job, which is teaching people about how the comics connect to the stuff that Marvel's doing.
That's right.
So that's what we do.
We're killing it.
Yeah, we are. I think, and we're the only podcast that does it, ladies and gentlemen. No one else does this.
Yeah, I mean, really, I don't think they do. I've listened to several other like kind of Marvel sideshow podcasts, and
even if they did,
they're not doing it like us.
No, they're not even close to doing it as bad. Are you ready for my favorite section of the podcast?
I'm ready.
News.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat.
News you can abuse. First up, Colby Smulders is back as Maria Hill.
What?
She's going to be in Secret Invasion.
Oh.
So that is confirmed. I have been very critical of Colby Smulders' Maria Hill interpretation. I think she's boring and hasn't done anything.
And I thought that she was actually really great and was a good character.
She's terrible.
And loved what she does with it. But
boring.
That's because I had no expectations from the comics.
A cardboard cutout could do what she's doing. And it sucks because Colby Smulders is actually great. I actually like her. But she's not doing very good, Maria. Hopefully she's going to be doing something better. She's going to be in Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion is actually getting hyped up pretty good, so we'll have to see where that goes. So there you go.
When's that supposed to be?
Next year?
2022?
Definitely. I think it's the end of 2022.
Okay.
So it's probably going to be where Hawkeye is now. So
I'm looking forward to that. If we get that that actor that played the main
Skrull,
what's the name of the space race?
The Skrull.
Yeah,
he's going to be there. That guy.
Cool.
We know.
Well, I like
we
him.
are.
He's good.
Yeah, he's going to be there. I wish that we had a better understanding of schedule. Like I wish that Marvel said, okay, every spring, summer, and fall, you will get a Marvel series from us.
Yeah, they can't do that.
I know they can't. I know they can't.
It'd be nice, but yeah,
it'd be super great. All right, next up, Keanu Reeves wants to be in the MCU. I don't know if that's good or bad. What's that software? I guess it's bad.
No, it's good. It's good. Who could he be, though? Who could he be?
Who knows? There's lots of people he could be.
I don't know comic book characters. Jay, you can come up with one. Who should Keanu Reeves be?
I'm going to blow your mind.
Okay.
Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic.
All right. Try again. I'm not buying that one.
The Sentry.
Who is that?
Yeah, he is the most powerful superhero in the Marvel comics.
All right, I'm in.
He is but the thing is, something happened to him in the 60s. It's actually a funny story. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but about 20 years ago, Marvel made the Sentry, so he was a brand new character, but they said that he was always a superhero from the 60s, but they lost him. And in the comics, a supervillain erased him from the memories of all people on the planet. So it was,
Wow.
it was a weird story, but apparently the Sentry's always been around. So the Sentry could be a really good fit for Keanu Reeves. I think it'll be interesting.
All right, you heard it here first. When Marvel casts Keanu Reeves as the Sentry,
it won't happen.
It's all Jay.
I'm not sure who they're going to do, but yeah, Keanu Reeves is great. He has that nerd factor. I know you're going to see The Matrix, right? Comes out, right?
Yeah. That last trailer looked really good.
Yeah, it's really great. And
also,
finally,
I love the John Wick movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
How can you forget Bill and Ted?
Easily. Okay, Mike.
Bill and Ted is really good.
Mike, you're about to explode with happiness. This happened just for you, Mike. Tom Holland is going to make 3 more Spider-Man movies confirmed.
3 more?
3 more confirmed. He's
so
going to be around for at least 3 more movies.
Awesome. They heard my pleas.
I'm not sure. Here's the problem here. Tom Holland's been very cagey about this. What you're seeing right now is public contract negotiations. Because at first, Tom Holland said...
Just like Daniel Craig and James Bond.
Yeah. Tom Holland says, I don't know what's going to happen to Spider-Man after this. It feels like that I'm done. Publicly, he said that. Then some producers from Marvel was like, we have plans for more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. Which means, okay, Tom, you want more money. We heard you. Here's more money. Fine. That's what he did. That's what happened. And it was smart. It was pretty smart. I'm curious.
You know what this means?
What?
Tom Holland is going to be voicing that TV show on Disney.
Don't bet that.
Come on, he's going to do it.
Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. Do not get your hopes up on that.
Oh, come on. Good.
Don't get your hopes up. But
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
But I mean, Marvel wouldn't say that there are going to be 3 more movies with Tom Holland if there wasn't going to be 3 more movies with Tom Holland. Like, this is a lock. Like, it's done. He signed the contract. We're finished with it. I'd be very surprised if something happens and this doesn't work. Because this is a money thing. Sony already put Venom in the MCU. We saw that at the end of that garbage movie Venom 2. So they've got plans. So we just gotta wait. So I think we have to wait and see what happens at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. Because I got a feeling that whatever happens at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home is going to have huge implications for every Marvel movie moving forward. And so it's gonna be a big movie. Everybody's gonna go see it. It's gonna get super popular. I think it's gonna be the best Spider-Man movie they've made with Tom Holland, and I think it's gonna be a huge hit. That's my prediction.
I hope so.
Yeah, I got a feeling the way they're hyping it up, the way they're talking about it, it feels like a different movie than the other Spider-Man. So, and if you've watched the trailers, Mike, what has he been doing in the trailers?
Swinging through New York.
You're getting everything you want, Mike. Everything you want. You really are getting everything that you want with the Spider-Man.
Everything's coming up, Mike.
That's weird to say.
No, it's a reference.
Yeah, I know the reference.
What's the reference?
I don't know the exact reference.
It's The Simpsons.
Millhouse. Everything is coming up Millhouse.
That's right.
I've watched 1 Simpson episode since it came out.
What?
Yeah, I don't watch The Simpsons.
How do you know the reference then?
Because it's all over the place. You can't, like, The Simpsons are firmly playing in our culture, man. You can't escape it. It's like not knowing Star Wars references.
I mean, you should watch the first 10
No, I'm not doing that. Nope. Anyway, that's our news you can't abuse. Mike, how can people...
it
was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a good one. I knew it. I knew you'd be happy.
Yeah, we broke some news. You gave everybody who Keanu Reeves is going to be playing in the Marvel MCU. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to him being the Centurion.
I think he's going to be Reed Richards.
No.
Mike,
it's not a good film.
How can people find us and talk to us? You know, none of my family or friends have listened to the podcast.
What?
Yeah, I told my family and friends to listen to the podcast.
I know why your wife doesn't listen to it. Because
that's a failed attempt. But then everybody in my family is like, I don't know. And but they all promised me that they would listen to one episode. So you might see
Yeah.
a spike because I have a big
Ooh.
family. So you might see a spike in listeners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm,
Nice.
mhm. But
Yeah,
how can they find?
you
So how
should
can
like
my
play
mom
it
and
after Thanksgiving dinner.
I
Play it
should have.
after
I should just
play it
start
after
playing on my
Christmas.
phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But how can people find us, Mike?
A great way for people to find us is when the listeners share this episode. Hit the share
Mhm.
button right now. Share it with your friends. Share it with your group chat. Share it with the people you're planning Christmas for right now.
You know what I would do? I would go to my contact list, make a big email with all my contacts, even my contacts from work,
Yeah.
and shoot a link in there and send it out to them.
Yeah, man. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I would totally
You
do
know
that.
what else
And
you could
I
do?
would make it one
You
of
could
those chain
you could
contests.
share it with Twitter,
Yeah, but I would make it one of those chain contests. Be like, if you
right?
listen to this, you will get $1 million, but you have to send it to everybody on your contact list. So I would do something like that.
Yeah, yeah. You might do that. I wouldn't do that.
Mm. I might
You
do
could
that. I might do that actually.
yeah, yeah. Do that. You could share it with Twitter. The share button it'll share to Twitter too. Did you know that, Jay? You
Hmm.
can share
Yeah.
straight to Twitter.
Dude,
You could
I
share it
deleted.
to.
I unfollowed half my followers list today.
Oh, really?
I was following
Do you still
1,000
follow
people.
me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right.
I was following 1,000 people. I cooked it down to 500. It makes it so much different.
That's good. That's really good.
You should do it.
Did you get rid of the NFTs? Are they still talking about NFTs on your timeline?
No, I got rid of them.
Okay, all right. They could share it like if they're still doing the whole Facebook and Instagram thing. They could share it straight to those two.
You should share it to Facebook because then our podcast would be the only thing good on that platform.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
And then you should instantly delete your Facebook app.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's great. And if you're looking for our podcast somewhere that you can get podcasts, you should find us there. But if you can't, let us know on Twitter at Super Sideshow, and we'll fix that.
Yeah, we also have a Reddit page that I am neglected, but I will take care of that today. I promise.
Awesome. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna put
Let's
on
go
there?
put some links and stuff in there and just interact with the internet a little bit.
I hear you.
Just
I
do
hear
some
you.
interneting. Pretty
Right.
excited about it.
Interneting needs to be done.
Yeah. So, Mike, the next time I talk to you, we're actually going to talk about Endgame. Am I right on that? Maybe? Or
Are you right? You might be right. You might be right. I thought we were
think
going to
I'm
be
right.
talking about Hawkeye again, but you might be right.
We'll talk about our schedule offline. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.
No, I'm right. Hawkeye again.